Live from New York. It's the show that is locked in on 82-0. What is it? It's not a...
It's just 82-0.com. Free ad. It's really fun.
It's excellent. We tried to get Brew into it, and he was already out on it.
Brew already...
Why were you so out on it?
Lukewarm.
Brew wasn't
not out on it.
Brew just didn't like the fact that they weren't really using basketball knowledge. It was just, he was like, it's just the stats. He's like the robot.
I'm about putting together
real
chemistry.
Team. Like,
what's it like in the locker room? Are they going out to dinner together?
His dislike of Luka's style of play applied in this. He was like, I'd rather have LeBron than Luka. He's like, it didn't work.
I'm building a team.
Yeah, he's building a team. Can I say one other thing?
Yeah.
Happy birthday to my mom.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Happy birthday. Happy birthday.
That's all.
Yeah.
Also, since we're doing holidays, my 31st wedding anniversary.
Wow!
Comes over the top.
Wow! That's great. No, you couldn't let me do that and then you not say it. No, I'm serious. Right. No,
I might have been in trouble.
Right, absolutely. 31, bro.
Congratulations.
Wow,
31.
You've been married longer
well
than
over
half our staff's been alive. That's unbelievable.
Super awkward for your anniversary to just go to that TGI Friday.
No, we going to a nice little
Okay, good.
Early dinner.
Before the game.
An early dinner.
We're starting in San Antonio, game one in the finals. Not saying it's a must-win, but teams that win game one are 55-24 in the series. 70% chance that you win the whole series. There's a 70% chance of rain. It's a must pack an umbrella.
Your umbrella.
So, Brew, we tried to make this a must-win, and you poo-pooed it in the morning meeting.
Well, we could have done our typical must-win.
Yeah.
But I was thinking, I'm locked in.
Yeah, Brew
you
does.
are.
I'm locked in.
All right,
It's
so
about winning.
Who do you
now.
have?
The
It's about
hijinks
really winning.
ended
Let's
when
not-
Brew took off the Technicolor fur coat. And now we're serious
I
analysis.
actually like that coat.
Yeah.
I liked it better.
You should
than-
wear it
than
out
the one
tonight
Shea
for the
wore.
anniversary dinner.
I might have it on again,
Yeah.
though, at some point
Yeah.
next year. Like you said, it's not a must-win. But I think I got the Spurs winning tonight. I obviously haven't winning the series in 7. I think the Knicks are going to be in for a bit of a, for lack of a better term, culture shock defensively. Now, people talk about the East and the bad, the mediocre teams, however you want to determine them, they faced. But Philadelphia, 16th ranked defensive team in the league, and may have gotten worse with Embiid in there. I mean, you obviously can pick on him, especially at this stage of his career. Cleveland's 15th rated defensive team in the year in the league, and probably got worse with Harden in there, once he joined the team. And Atlanta so they ran through those teams. Yeah. Atlanta was 9th.
But I think they got better once they traded Trey.
Yes. Atlanta had 2 legit defenders.
Yes.
Dyson Daniels, really good, great defenders. Dyson Daniels and Nickeil Alexander-Walker. And they gave Brunson a little trouble early. In the first 4 games, he shot 41%. That series was 2-2. They were obviously Knicks were down 2-1. So what they did with Brunson, obviously, even against Atlanta, you still could pick on C.J. McCollum, get him, on the McCollum and let him go to work. There's no one to hunt on San Antonio. We don't even have to mention Wemby. We all know about him. But Castle, all their perimeter defenders that are going to get after it, they were a top 3 defensive team. They're probably even better now than they were in the regular season. So I think that's going to be a shocker for the Knicks. And one of the teams that gave the Knicks trouble this year, and I thought it would have been interesting in the playoffs, Detroit, they had a tenacious defense as well, physical, strong, tough. That's what they're going to be facing tonight. So I do have the Spurs. And Nick, I think, while it's not a must-win for either team, I think it's more important for the Spurs to win. You don't want to give up home court, right? You don't want to give up home court advantage. But also, and even, I think for either team, you definitely don't want to get blown out. If either team gets blasted, it is a bad sign, because you got to snuff the Knicks' momentum.
Well, that's the thing. You want to puncture the Knicks' feeling of invincibility.
Right, which is a legit feeling they should have, but you got to puncture it.
So listen, I think, and we've talked about this over the years on this show a bunch of times, that Brew was picking the Spurs in 7, which means they'll lose 3 times. But going into each game, you will probably feel like, well, the Spurs should win.
Yeah,
if they win game 1, I'll probably pick them for game 2.
Game 2. And if they win game 2, they're just better.
Because you're hoping your pick You just want it to be right.
Exactly.
And
and I picked Knicks in 6, which means I think they're going to lose twice, but going into each game, and so that is game 1 is the cleanest on that front, but you can see how it can, spiral a bit. I think the Knicks steal game 1, and I think that I'm not talking about us necessarily because we do it for a living, but I think America as a whole, because it has been 9 days, has forgotten a bit about what the Knicks have done this postseason. Yes, it has not been, I don't think it's been the easiest path ever, but it certainly has not been the hardest path ever. But if you don't have a treacherous path, you know what you should do on it? Absolutely blast teams. Right. And they are doing that in a way no team in the history of the league has ever done it. And we can just show you all the numbers that we showed you 9 days ago. During this 11-game winning streak, it is the most dominant 11-game winning streak in the history of professional basketball. Not playoffs or regular season. As far as double-digit wins, this now gets to the playoffs piece of it. It's the most ever leading into the NBA Finals. As the Nate Duncan stat that we have shown you, that where they now have the record for margin of victory for every sample of games from 3 through 14 in playoff history. And you also, the Spurs have been excellent this postseason, obviously, but there have been moments of peril. The Knicks really, and we show the time trailing, the Knicks have trailed in the fourth quarter for 26 minutes these playoffs, and 12 of those were in one game that they won. And so almost all of the other minutes were in the first 3 games of the playoffs in those Atlanta games. And so the last time the Knicks lost, that same day, Dante DiVincenzo was playing for the Timberwolves. You know what has happened more recently than the Knicks lost a game? LeBron threw an alley-oop to Bronny, and the Celtics went up 2-1 on Philly. That's how long it's been. And I don't think that is just who they were playing. I think it was the offensive philosophy that Mike Brown has really imparted on the team as far as this, what you would call egalitarian, ball movement, Warriors-esque basketball to go along with the rare times it's been close late. We trust our guy more than you trust your guy. And last thing I'll say on this before I give it to you, KW. Before the season, the conventional wisdom, including I think at this table, the Knicks are better than the Spurs going into the year. We didn't think the Spurs were. Yeah,
honestly, I don't think we talked much about the Spurs. We didn't factor them into the thinking.
But and the Vegas odds would say, not that that's gospel, the Knicks were better. During the regular season, the Spurs were better than the Knicks, but not when they played each other. And during the playoffs, the Knicks have, in my opinion, been better than the Spurs. They have been as good as any team ever leading into a conference finals. I think this series is flatly mispriced. If you want to say the Spurs should be slight favorites because they have home court and because they have theoretically the best player in the series, I do think Wemby's better than Brunson. I don't know if that means he'll have a bigger impact on this series than Brunson. Fine. But the fact that the Spurs are 2-1 favorites, I think is wrong. And I think I need to see somebody beat this version of the Knicks before I believe that they're actually better than this version of the Knicks.
Head-to-head, Brew, the Knicks won twice. Yep. The Spurs won once. The one Spurs win, they won 134 to 132, so it wasn't this big, defensive battle. And that's the game that Champagnie hit 11 threes. So it was a bit of an outlier. Meanwhile, one of the games that the Knicks won, the Spurs only scored 89 points. Knicks are on a historic heater. Is a blowout on the board for you?
I don't think so. But a blowout would be bad. Because what it would tell you is the Knicks are still on this heater, and maybe that's just who they are now in this new offense. You'll be able to rationalize it hey, even Wemby admitted they're we'll get to this later, but emotionally still getting over that big victory over OKC. They're not as rested. And, you could rationalize, okay, they'll get it game 2. And that's probably what I'll do and every other guy that wants the Spurs to win will do. But it would be a red flag. And I think both ways. Like, if the Knicks get blown out, and I get it that they were getting blown out by Cleveland on that long rest. Yeah. So if the Knicks get blown out, then it's okay. You've stepped up in class, and this is what time it is.
If they get, so that's, I don't think it's going to be a blowout in either direction. I do think it would be more spooky for the Spurs to get blown out because I do think the Knicks would have, even if it's false, the excuse of, we looked terrible. The last time we had this type of layoff, we just rallied at the end. Mm-hmm. I guess the Spurs would have the excuse of emotional Game 7. We were gonna fall down, and now, but it would be more costly just because it would cost them home court.
Yep. And remember last year, Indiana won Game 1.
Yeah.
So
and that series ended up being
a great series, but
Spurs are 6-0 franchise-wise in Game 1s of the finals.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, I didn't know that either. Yeah.
But they didn't win.
Interesting.
Well, they won all but one.
5-0.
Yeah, they won 5.
70% actually indexing on the must-win. Wemby on the hunt for hardware. So far, he's got Rookie of the Year, Defensive Player of the Year, Magic Johnson Trophy, Western Conference MVP. Also as a top 3 MVP finisher. Here's the list, courtesy of Josh. If you finish in the top 3 of the MVP and you win the finals within your first 3 seasons, Duncan, Bird, Walton, Kareem, and Bill Russell, what would raising the Larry O'Brien Trophy mean for Wemby?
Well, obviously, that's incredible company right there. He would join Bill Walton. And some people, I don't even think you can argue Bird, because Bird won it his second year. It wasn't his first time in the playoffs, though. But he won it his second year. He did have McHale, who was young and became much better than people expected.
Mm-hmm. He had Tiny Archibald.
They were older. He had a lot of Hall of Famers, but they were older. Like, Tiny was a playmaker at that point, not a big scorer. But anyway, he'd be the only person other than Bill Walton to do what he will have done.
Correct.
Walton led an inexperienced the youngest team ever in the finals to a championship in his first time in the playoffs. That's what Wemby would be doing. Now, some people say, well, Bill Russell won his rookie year. Boston had been in the playoffs 6 straight years before Russell got there, and Bob Cousy was the MVP Russell's rookie year.
Also, by the way, Brew, no one would say that except for maybe me. Like, KW's like, nobody's saying that. Nobody's butting you on Bill Russell, but go ahead.
Magic, of course, rookie year, but Kareem was the MVP that year. And Duncan won it in his second year, but David Robinson was still a very good player, maybe toward the end of his prime, And so this would be wholly unprecedented outside of Bill Walton. And Walton at that point, obviously injuries hampered his career, but Walton was probably more of a finished product.
Yes.
Because remember, you played college for 4 years at that time, than Wemby. Wemby, I've said it before, is 70% roughly of what he will be. So if they win it this year, and this, I think, is the worst Spurs team that we'll see, barring injury, for the next 5 years at least. The Wemby era will have officially begun. Now, it's already begun individually. He's going to be the runaway favorite. I think you totally agree with me. Runaway favorite for MVP going into next season.
Yeah.
Individually, he's the face of the league. But from a winning standpoint, it will have begun. And I think teams in the NBA are just going to be at a loss. Like, what are you going to do with him? And Castle and Harper are going to improve as well. He could go, barring injury, on a run. We've only seen 2 guys put the entire league on lockdown, Bill Russell and Michael Jordan. I think he could do that. If they win this year, and he could do it, it could start next year if they don't win it this year. But that is what the league could be facing if he wins it.
So, listen, if they win it, there's no limit to the ceiling, which is what you've been saying all along. I would say it would put him, it is a long trajectory and a very long path to being the greatest player of all time, but he would be pacing towards it. You know what I mean? It's a 26-mile
great
marathon,
start.
and he would be at the mile marker 4 or something, but he would be ahead of pace. And I had a feeling you were going to do a lot of the historical comps on if he wins it. So I just want to put, because the only thing you said that I disagree with is definitively this will be the worst the Spurs are for the next 5 years.
I mean,
because the NBA,
barring
no,
injury,
set injury aside. Because the other thing that happens sometimes with success is Dylan Harper's like, I can have my own team. Or different things. Teams don't. So 5 years feels like 3 years I would agree with. 5 years feels a touch long. But I agree with almost everything you said. I would like to, for a moment, caution everyone on what can happen if they don't win it. Because we, after, at least on this show, trying to caution the audience of like, stop as soon as a team wins one ring, talking about them as a dynasty. America saw that and was like, okay, no problem. We'll do it before they win a ring. And we went from, is it a Thunder dynasty to they lose to the Spurs, Spurs haven't won yet, and the national conversation is already Spurs dynasty.
Yeah.
I don't think Wemby is definitively, right now, this moment, better than year 3 Shaquille O'Neal. Year 3 Shaquille O'Neal took the Orlando Magic to the NBA Finals. Penny Hardaway was certainly, to me, as good as Dylan Harper. They didn't have a third guy, but Penny was unbelievable.
But I think the difference is the defense.
Sure.
Like, Wemby's much better defense.
I agree, and I think Shaq was much better offensively at that point in time. But regardless, my point is, they're still, we're splitting hairs. That Magic team, man, they didn't win this year. But they're going to be right back there. Shaq himself didn't make another finals for 5 years, and it was with a new team. Akeem Olajuwon, the guy that I've comped Wemby to, and not just me, a lot of people, he made the finals in year 2 with another number 1 pick alongside him, Ralph Sampson. They lost to the 86 Celtics, but they'll be right back there. Akeem didn't make a finals again for 8 years, and there was a trade demand in the middle of that the Rockets ignored.
And Sampson got hurt.
And LeBron James made the finals in year 4, but at the same age as Wemby. Yeah, listen, they get dusted by the Spurs, but they'll be right back there. LeBron himself didn't make the finals again for 4 years, and it was with another team. The only reason, I am not saying any of that is what's going to happen here. What I am saying is, I think America feels like this is the Knicks shot, and the Spurs, if they don't get it, they're going to have a bunch of shots. Probably, maybe. Theoretically,
you ran off a lot of history. What are your eyes telling you? Oh, we haven't seen anything like this.
No, but Brew, that doesn't. I don't think right now Wemby is leaps and bounds better than young Shaq or young Bron. And those guys reached, certainly Bron, their potential, but they left their team. There were some pitfalls along the way. That's all I'm saying.
LeBron didn't have the supporting cast.
100%.
LeBron, yeah.
That Wemby has. And we're talking about the best defensive player
I thought you were going.
in our era.
I thought you were going.
Maybe ever.
Best organization.
Well, that's the thing, too. I don't think the Spurs are going to fall apart. Like, Wemby obviously is focused. I think their organization is fantastic. They're going to keep these guys focused.
I agree with all that. And I think Wemby will, listen, I said LeBron had that drought. He ended up making 9 more finals after that. Mm-hmm. So I'm like, Shaq made, 5 more finals after that. So it's not even saying like this is a flat. The point I am making is there have been guys, at least in this general vicinity of talent and upside, draft position, all of that. All those guys I mentioned were number 1 picks who instantly got to a finals, didn't win it. In football, it would be Dan Marino or Joe Burrow, guys who in year 2 got to the Super Bowl, didn't win it, they'll be back. And it just took a long time.
Just to belabor the point.
Yeah.
I think we are undercutting or underselling how functional the Spurs are as an organization.
Yes. Great.
Joe Burrow had to Lewis and Clark his way. I'm here to resuscitate the whole franchise.
Right.
LeBron is there to resuscitate the whole franchise. The Magic were brand new.
Right.
And he wanted out of there. I think, maybe my memory, I was a kid, but you started to hear rumblings right away that he wasn't long for the Magic. guys retire, have other jobs, and are still in the organization. Duncan's there, Manu's there, David Robinson is there, Pop is still around. I'd feel like even when you leave, you don't leave. And almost, and I'm surprised this is not a bigger storyline, this is almost chapter 2, I guess, of the Duncan dynasty. But I almost view this as one continuous.
Really?
A huge gap in the middle.
I had not thought of that.
Same GM.
Well, the RC's there. RC Buford's there. He's not the GM, but yeah.
Pop is still a presence there. They play a similar style to. They didn't change. They don't look like the Showtime Lakers. They play, as you call it, an egalitarian basketball. Where the star can dominate the game and get 18 points. It's not the same exact thing, but it's a great run from one organization.
Yeah,
can I say something
Yeah,
sincerely? Go. Do I ever, probably not, but do I ever say something on the show that legitimately makes you laugh and you feel a little
Was that a laughable take?
No. I'm about to give you, just hold on.
Okay.
And you feel a speckle of pride. Like, I made Nick funnier over the years I've known him. Has that ever happened? Because hearing you...
Apparently no.
No, okay, that's fine. Because me hearing you just seed the ground for an idea that a dynasty can continue past the player who was around it as what is clearly you just trying to seed a Drake May, the Patriots dynasty
you know
is still ongoing. It's the same stadium. Kraft still owns it. The jerseys are the same.
Is there a connection? Oh my God, Mike Vrabel was there.
Same name.
It really is. And then when you bring that up in 6 months, you can be like, no, I've always believed this. Remember, I said this about the Spurs too. I'm just so proud as a professional takesman seeing you really strategically lay it out like that. I thought that was great.
That is interesting. Josh McDaniels, OC. Now that you say it, I do see some similarities. Julian Edelman.
That's what I thought.
That's a good. I didn't say it, but that is a good point.
Yeah.
We're headed to the gridiron.
Holy
Caleb
world.
Williams is on the cover of Madden. Said he wanted to recreate the famous Jordan Jumpman photo. We'll get to it in a
It is
second.
a great photo.
With the Chicago skyline in the background. First Bear to ever make the Madden cover. Do we expect Caleb to make another leap like he's leaping on the Madden cover this year?
Absolutely. He's got an awesome coach, and I thought he peaked at the end of the year. And because I don't want KW to get mad, I want to make something clear, at least in my view. Because yesterday we asked, do you expect Drake May to get better? And my answer was the expectation was no, as far as objectively from a statistical or, it was something that you could put pen to paper on better. There is a world where Drake May, at least statistically speaking, regresses. Caleb takes another leap, and Drake May's still ahead of him.
Oh, yeah.
And so because Drake was so, of those young quarterbacks, so far and ahead of everyone in his draft class from a statistical accomplishment and, by the way, team success accomplishment. Like, he has a big head start in that regard. But
every draft class.
What do you mean?
Just everybody in the league, actually.
I disagree with that, but that's fine.
Well, it's just number one objectively in everything.
Okay. I like their weapons. Last year, I understand they have a tough schedule this year. They had a tough schedule last year. The NFC North was awesome last year. They also, outside the division, played Philly. They played Baltimore. KW loves this one. What do they lead the league in?
I think they do have rest advantage, no?
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
They lead. That's why I said you love it.
Yeah.
They lead the league in rest edge. And he is on, like young quarterbacks are supposed to be, a significant upward trajectory. If you look at his rookie year stats, there were some bright spots. He didn't throw a bunch of picks. I think he only had 7 interceptions, 11 total turnovers. But a lot of, not great. That's his rookie year. The following year, and I put in those arrows you like so much.
Thank you.
And he got better in everything, except the one thing that you care about the most all of a sudden is, not all of a sudden, but you care about the most, is completion percentage.
Completing passes.
He got worse at.
Old school.
And
what is the thumbs up?
I was going to ask.
Because the sacks actually went down, but it was a good thing. So I didn't want to put a red arrow. Red arrow means bad, so I just put thumbs up. I asked Josh, I was like, let's just give it a thumbs up.
I like it.
We didn't want to have to spend time being
Sure.
like, it went down, but we want him to go down. You put an arrow up, it's wrong. So we just gave thumbs up. Good job, Caleb.
Okay.
From 68 to 24. And I think the second year, Greg, with Ben Johnson will matter a ton. And I think he gained confidence from that postseason run in the end of the year and making the playoffs, all that. So for all those reasons, yeah, I expect him to take another leap.
I agree. Look, number one, let me address the Madden cover. I think it's actually dope. The photos.
Oh, yeah.
Great photos.
Yeah, they're actually dope. Madden curse, we know all about the history and all the things. But in terms of him getting better, I'm right there with you. And we know that, I believe, and I've said this, I believe that he's going to get better because of the reasons you mentioned. But more importantly, I think the guys around him are going to take a step in the right direction as well. Once you remove DJ Moore, a huge integral part of what they were doing. But again, sometimes the room in the receiver space can be a little too cluttered. And you remove DJ Moore, Roman Duze can now become a true number one. And then you got Luther Burden, who started to come on really strong last year. Khalif Raymond, obviously Colston Loveland, he started to emerge as one of the better tight ends options in terms of ball catchers. But there's going to be so many opportunities that these guys now have and rapport that is being built and that was established in some of those comeback games that we give a lot of the credit to Caleb, but those guys were making the plays. They have a running game. You mentioned Ben Johnson, and I think their defense has improved. So he's going to have more opportunity. These guys are going to start to make plays because they believe in not only who he is, but their abilities as well.
Well, I agree with both of you, and I'm expecting him to take a leap, and he better. Like, if he doesn't take a leap, it's a bit alarming.
Oh.
I think if he doesn't take a leap, he kind of be like a Trevor Lawrence at that point. Now, I'm not saying his career wouldn't be, but there's no excuse for him not to take a leap. I mean, Lawrence is still, he had a really good year.
13 games.
Yeah, he had a great year, but I'm saying he's still not viewed as like some elite quarterback or what he was supposed to be.
He's not viewed as a sure thing.
Yeah, and that's where I think Caleb would be, whereas the leap would mean, okay, he's like, he's elite, or he's going to be elite for sure. He's got all the weapons, as you guys said. The offensive line is good. The weapons are great, including running backs, tight ends, obviously the receivers. Second year with Ben Johnson. All right. And now, so last year it was about getting out of the huddle quickly, avoiding sacks, managing the line of scrimmage and all that. This year, accuracy has to improve. It don't have to be 70%, but can we get it to at least 63? I mean, something accurate, right? It doesn't have to be too high, but I need it higher than in the 50s.
Yes.
He's got to manage the game a little bit better, and like I said, be more accurate, and be more consistent. Because that's the thing, he wasn't consistent last year, and that's why they needed those late comebacks. They should not need as many late heroics as they've had last year. So that's what I want to see.
Because I don't want to play this character.
It's not playing KW. It's not
Ronnie Realism. I don't want.
Is his name Ronnie?
Yeah. I got to be Ronnie Realistic. I don't want to be this guy.
I want to. But it's how you actually feel.
I want to be a cheerleader for everybody.
It's okay.
But
We know that,
good.
but you can't.
But after I hear all this stuff, sometimes I got to be Ronnie Realistic.
Okay.
Yes, obviously he should get better, and there's plenty of room to take a huge leap because I don't think he was that good last year. Sorry. Okay? Let me tell you a little story about America. We were growing up, me and Brew. You know what used to matter? Batting average. Putting the bat on the ball.
I'm with you.
Putting the ball in play.
Yep.
And then what happened, Brew? Batting average was for the birds. It was all about exit velocity and launch angle.
Yeah.
And that was the hot thing.
I mean,
Then you know what happened? The Rays this year said, why don't we just put the bat on the ball? Well, they're one of the best teams in baseball.
Yeah.
Came all the way back around. That's me in completion percentage. All of a sudden, completion percentage just didn't matter anymore. I still like it.
No, but when
if you throw the ball, it gets caught. Call me old school. I like that.
But hold on.
I got a lot, Greg.
Go.
Ronnie Realism is here. It wasn't okay. It wasn't below average. It was absolutely horrible. It was Dylan Gabriel, Caleb Williams, Russ, who's a broadcaster, and J.J. McCarthy. That was the group of settings he's in. The problem is he's also missing easy throws. Caleb's 2025 season, when he's not facing pressure, expected completion percentage, now I got to buy into the fancy graphics, 71.7. Actual completion percentage, 64%. The difference is 7.5%, second worst in the last 10 years. Oh, who was the worst? Just close your eyes and think of a terrible quarterback. If you're imagining Zach Wilson with the Jets, you are correct.
Ooh.
Bad throw percentage. Pretty simple graphic. I like that one. Bad throws. Guess who it is? Percentage. Penix, J.J. McCarthy, Caleb, and rookie Cam Ward. There's just so many bad stats that say he's inaccurate. It's more than just completion percentage. And I understand that he made a lot of spectacular plays and the Caleb magic. I get it. Not a huge fan of magic. I'm just not. I like steady, normal quarterbacking. Caleb's last year, this is the magic graphic that everyone's being like, is burned into everyone's memory. In the first 75% of the game, he was pretty much
mediocre, below average.
Okay. And then the fourth quarter and overtime, he was outstanding. Maybe that is just a flair for the moment, but 6 game-winning scores in the final 2 minutes or overtime, I don't think is a sustainable pace. And I think this is all, I think that bottom line is going to come way down. I do think there's so much room in completion percentage that it will go up, but I think the wins are coming way down.
Wins are coming way down. How many games they won?
If you win 6, if you win,
they won 11.
If you win 6 in overtime or the last 2 minutes,
right? But
what's
so
way down?
Right. I mean,
oh, okay. I'm not going to say 4,
Yeah,
but if they finish at, if I had to bet a team was going to go first to worst,
do you think they might be worse in that division?
Someone's got to be.
Can I respond to a lot of what you said?
You did a great job.
You did a great job, except there was one thing that was
negative guy.
That I think was a recreation of history.
Go ahead.
Which is
I'm not above
back in the day when America, as you put it, loved batting average.
Oh yeah, Teddy Ball game. Never heard of him?
What's the only quarterback stat they cared about?
W's, wins.
Exactly, wins.
Throwing touchdowns.
That might have been the toughest division in football last year. Nobody thinks the Bears have the best roster. They won it.
Yes.
They then won a playoff
wins.
game based on his brilliance. Now, was part of the reasons you needed the brilliance, and in both games, he made some big mistakes and made some amazing throws. So, the old, because the great quarterbacks of yesteryear, we don't want to, start digging into their completion percentages because nobody was completing 60% of passes. Sure. I totally agree. The other piece of it was you gave us multiple graphics that all were about the same flaw. That, to me, is...
Go ahead. Sorry, I didn't mean to
it's accuracy. Yeah. It's accuracy. But that, to me, is way less concerning than it's like, hey, here's a problem for him. Like year one, he's inaccurate. Here's another problem. Takes way too many sacks. Here's another problem. They lead the league in pre-snap penalties. You are 100% correct. He needs to be more accurate. But it is going into year 2, he had all of this upside and multiple glaring weaknesses. Going into year 3, the sacks are eliminated. The huge negative plays are eliminated. He's still, playoffs notwithstanding, what, KW?
It's like a restaurant. It's like the food. I think accuracy is a big deal. In fact, we eliminated the fires. It's like, okay, but I'm not going to throw a parade because your restaurant no longer is catching fire.
And that's where I guess it is. The goal for the quarterback is for every offensive player is to move the ball down the field.
Yes.
So if he was near last in the league in yards, or if he was near the top of the league in turning the ball over, that to me is because there is an element of it that is he was 5th in the league in yards per completion, for instance, along with Stafford and those guys. It is big play stuff. Now, Drake was the best of both worlds, big plays and high completion percentage, which is why he had such a gaudy passer rating. But it is for a player that has shown, and you couldn't even get over the awe of some of the Monday shows after his moments, who has the ability to make plays that literally maybe 2 other players in the history of the league can make, to assume he's not going to, and was wildly accurate in college, to assume he's not going to at least get to league average accuracy, I think is underselling the player.
You can't. I am not wowed by the spectacular as much as everybody else.
But you were. I think.
Well, I'm sorry. You know what? I was like, holy cow. I don't think it's sustainable. So, I think for every time, like for the Rams touchdown, that's gonna. I don't want to like.
May
wish.
never happen again. Something like that.
Or you're gonna try to do it. Like, you know what I'm gonna do? What you know what? An arrow in my quiver. Run back 30 yards and gun it.
But he's the type of quarterback that I know you've talked about, that gives you that extra something that like a Jared Goff doesn't have. That what did you call him?
Superhero versus
the superhero. And here's the thing with Caleb. If I've watched him even last year, just last season, in talking to Ben Johnson and him trying to get the operation, just pre-snap operation down and run that smoothly, and his ability to do that, knowing what comes with that in terms of having to think about that, know the play, know what everybody's doing, then put the ball in the accurate spot. Again, every quarterback has his responsibility. Yeah. He struggled with it. He got better. The one thing that didn't improve was the accuracy. And I think if he can just focus on playing on schedule and keeping his almost like his breathing down to where it's like he's as calm or as cool or as Iceman, if whatever he wants to call himself, in those moments where we've seen the spectacular, then he's going to make a tremendous leap in that accuracy area.
Thanks for watching. Subscribe here to get more from the show and to check out clips from other shows on FS1.